Hi everyone, and welcome to this practice where we're going to look at two key principles in exercises specific for scoliosis and kyphosis. These exercises are suitable for all curve types. We're going to focus on the principle of expansion, so expanding our whole rib cage front to back, side to side. And then we're going to add in a very gentle elongation practice at the end. So equipment wise, you need 2 towels folded up at a similar level because you're going to rest your arms on them, and you need a chair beside a wall and a yoga mat if you want, not super necessary. So we're going to start off in a lying position today, and we're going to really just focus on expansion first. So have a sit on your mat. Place your feet so the knees are bent, feet are level. You can have them at the end of the mat if you don't have a chair in the way like me. And then you're going to place your hands firmly down on the ground and imagine trying to stretch your spine out and lay it down as long as you can on the mat. Now we can keep our knees bent in this position, or if it's more comfortable for your back, you can place your feet up on the chair. So try both and see what's more comfortable for your back today. Reposition a little if you need to. Now we're going to do this expansion from a nice level pelvis if we can. So take both of your hands, slide them in along your waist and slide them down until you feel your pelvis bones. And then if you feel a pelvis bone is higher than the other side, see if you can lengthen down the side that feels a little higher. And notice if you can get weight even through both sides of your pelvis. So you can rock to the left butt cheek, right butt cheek. And then pause where you feel centered. Don't worry too much if you find it hard to feel this today. Then we're going to bring our hands up into position. So our elbows are going to be slightly higher than our shoulders. Our palms facing down on front of our shoulders, chest area. And from here, we're going to start our expansion practice. We're going to use a visualization to help us expand our rib cage quite specifically. So picture a soft ball, a soft blue ball, almost like a Pilates ball if you're familiar with it. I'm going to move my hands for this demo, and you can keep yours planted on your chest. Imagine a soft blue ball going deep inside your rib cage. Then visualize that ball expanding in all directions, front to back, side to side, until it gets to the point where it's gently pressing against the inside of your ribs. From here, and if you need some tactile feedback, do bring your hands down onto your lower ribs for a moment. From here, we're going to focus on the ball in the lower rib cage, and we're going to focus on it expanding side to side. So picture that ball getting bigger, pressing gently from the inside of the ribs, shaping the rib cage out, making it wider. Your rib cage will naturally recoil as well. As the ball gets bigger, picture the ribs separating as the rib cage gets wider. Now bringing your attention to the front to back expansion of the ball. You can place your hands on the front of your lower rib cage. Imagine a ball inside the rib cage expanding, rounding the rib cage up towards the ceiling. And at the same time, can you think about the ball in against the back of your rib cage, rounding and expanding the back of the rib cage down into the mat? So equally as important, that back expansion. Focusing on that front to back expansion in the lower rib cage. And then we're going to think about this ball in our lower rib cage and imagine it gliding up our rib cage to our mid rib cage area. So from here, we're going to focus on side to side expansion again. So if you need to use your hands, do for this first demo. Think about that ball inside the ribs and think about it widening, expanding out side to side. You can have your hands on your ribs and see if you can feel the ribs expand side to side. Then bring your attention to that front to back expansion. You, if you need, can have a hand on the front of your rib cage. Think about that ball inside the ribs getting bigger, getting higher, rounding your rib cage up towards the ceiling. And at the same time, the ball expands down and rounds your rib cage down into the mat. This mid rib cage area can feel a little bit stiffer or a little bit hard to move or to feel. And then we'll bring our soft blue ball all the way up into our upper rib cage. So think about the area under your breastbone, the ribs below your collarbones and your armpits. This is where we are now. So the hands can go back on the elbows, back on the towels. You can have your thumbs rolling up and down on the ribs in your armpit. Imagine a soft blue ball in behind those ribs and think about it getting wider. It'll almost feel like your armpits are swelling or opening out to the side. And you can add to this expansion side to side by focusing on your elbows lengthening apart. And then bringing your focus to the last piece, the front to back expansion of that upper rib cage. Picture that ball right in behind your breastbone, in behind your collarbones. Think about it expanding, rounding the chest up towards the ceiling. And at the same time, picture that ball expanding down, the back of your rib cage rounding down into the mat. We'll all place our hands face down on our shoulders, elbows resting on our towels, and we're going to go through that sequence one more time with a little bit more stillness in our arms so we're not feeling the ribs. So bring your attention to that visual of a ball and think about it going deep inside your rib cage. Picture the ball expanding front to back, side to side. We're going to start with the ball in the lower rib cage. Focus on side to side expansion of your lower rib cage. So the ball expands and the rib cage gets wider side to side. Your rib cage will naturally recoil back with your breath. Then bring your attention to that front to back expansion in the lower rib cage still. Think about the ball rounding and pressing the rib cage gently up towards the ceiling. And in the same way, think about the back of the ball expanding and the back of your rib cage rounding down into the mat. Visualize that blue ball gliding gently up through your rib cage and resting in the middle of the rib cage. Notice the ball expand side to side. So as the ball gets bigger and wider, feel the ribs separate, creating space between the ribs and rib cage getting wider. Then notice the ball expand front to back. Notice the front of the rib cage round up towards the ceiling. And then see if you can focus on the back of the ball, rounding and expanding down, opening up the ribs down towards the mat. Gliding the ball up where it's inside our rib cage, up to our upper rib cage. As we expand side to side now, focus on that area that is your armpits. Think about the ball expanding, getting wider. Armpits feel like they're swelling, elbows draw apart, creating width through the upper chest. And then visualize that ball in the upper rib cage expanding front to back. The back of the ball expands down into the mat, rounding the ribs, spreading them out on the mat. And then the front of the ball is expanding up to the ceiling, gently pressing the breastbone up. You can open your eyes if they were closed. Take your hands down to your hips, and we're all going to roll onto our side. And we're going to come up into sitting and use our chair. Oh, I feel a little bit dizzy. Come up nice and slowly so you don't feel dizzy. And place your chair facing the wall. And we're going to bring that expansion into an upright position, which is harder because we're going against gravity, whereas when we're lying down, we're a little bit more supported. So have a sit in your chair. Again, we're going to go from a stable pelvis. So if you had headlights on your hips, you can place your hands on the front of your hips. Can you get your hips pointing straight towards the wall? Slide your hands in along your waist until you meet your pelvis bones. And see if you can get them to feel relatively level. If you can't feel, please don't stress too much about that bit. You're going to lever forward from your hips, loads of length through your spine, and we're going to expand the rib cage side to side here. So hands on the lower rib cage, notice the ball or visualize that ball expanding wide. Rib cage gets wider, ribs separate. And then move the ball, the imaginary ball, and your hands up and expand side to side in this mid-rib cage area. And then move the hands up one last step so the thumbs are in your armpits and you're expanding side to side, elbows reach out long. And once we've got that space and expansion through the rib cage, place our hands on the wall. And think about simple length from the crown of your head through to your tailbone. So your pelvis is grounded firm and heavy on the chair. And from that stable base, think about lengthening the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. Hands are on the wall to support your body. And then we're going to go back to that visual of the ball to get our front to back expansion to complete this practice. So visualize the ball in your lower rib cage and think about that front to back expansion. Think about the ball expanding back, the rib cage opening up, rounding at the back. Front of the ball expands forward towards the wall. And then moving that ball up into the mid rib cage. Think about that expansion of the ball back into the back of the rib cage, opening up, spacing out the ribs at the back of the rib cage. Front of the ball expands forward into the wall. And then lastly, moving into that upper rib cage area. Think about that front to back expansion. So imagine the ball in behind the ribs, in behind your shoulder blades. Think about it expanding back of the rib cage, rounding, creating space at the back. At the same time, adding in that front expansion. Imagine the ball in behind your breastbone, gently pressing the breastbone forward towards the wall. Finishing with a focus on the pelvis grounded. We've got this expanded rib cage and we're lengthening the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. And then slide your hands down the wall. You're all finished your expansion and elongation practice. I hope this gave you a good insight into the principles. And this is a lovely, gentle practice that you could practice every day. And you will find that you get better at feeling and expanding through your rib cage. It's not something that we're naturally good at. So practice makes it better.